I'm gonna turn you jackasses down.
Oh, we're live. Oh, shit.
Cochran.
Unique New York.
Red leather journal.
Many leather-bound books. Carpets of rich mahogany. People living in.
We don't have the Instagram microphone here.
There was an Instagram.
I don't. Uh-oh.
Oh, hey.
Well, now. Hey, everybody. There we go.
Hey.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to today's Friday edition of Get in the Herd, Richmond's award-winning podcast here today. Welcoming into the studio, we have with us somebody who hasn't been here in a while. Joey J.
Joey the Jim, they call him.
Joey the Jam. Joey and Jam. And we have our new producer, Justin Bognar, over there, Justin BB. I love it. Welcome, Justin. Glad to have you on board here, helping us to produce this fantastic show. Feel free to jump into the conversation over here. So, Joey.
Yeah.
I've asked you here today because I didn't have anybody else to come and.
Excellent.
No.
I like being the last resort.
No, you're never my last resort. But Justin said, let's do one today, and I said, I want to do that, and I want to talk about my personal recovery pathway. And the reason I like having you on with my personal recovery pathway is because I know that your recovery pathway is something that I actually really admire and aspire more towards. And so I thought, why not talk about what it is that you do? And how do you keep yourself fresh? How do you keep yourself clean? And do they make t-shirts like that in your size?
No. I shop exclusively at Baby Gap, and it works out great for me. I don't know. Well, first and foremost, the most important thing to me is that I do something different this time. That because I know everything that I've ever done didn't work up until now. I mean, I'm used to say that it's going to work this time, but I know that I'm doing a lot of things differently at the moment, such as surrounding myself with a lot of men in recovery that hold me accountable and stuff like that. Like example, you hold me accountable all the time, and I hate it sometimes. It's fucking horrible sometimes, but I need that, and I desperately require that. Even people at work, I work with people in recovery, and shout out to the doctor. He knows where he's at. He holds me accountable, I got a lot of people in my corner this time, and I choose to utilize them, whereas in the past, I wouldn't say I was a loner, man, but I just, and show face and stuff like that. I mean, of course, my physical well-being is a really big part of my recovery. So is meetings, man. But when I go to meetings, I put my phone down most of the time. Sometimes I'm pretty terrible at it because, I like to be funny. But, I'll put my phone down and pay attention to the readings, which I know are monotonous sometimes. Not monotonous.
What does that word mean?
Monotonous sometimes. And then, I'll pay attention to even the readings or whenever somebody shares, I try to, if, sometimes I don't agree with people's personal lives, right? But I try to allow the message to be the message and the messenger to be the messenger and separate the two. And that's a big thing for me is pay attention to the message, not the messenger, because their mess is their mess. But we're all we all have a common goal, man.
It's strange sitting next to you and not over here. I think just as a little tool, because I feel myself.
So is that the hot seat or?
Well, I never sit there. This tends to be my spot. Sometimes over here, it's really not that big of a deal.
It's a bright light back there.
It's a bright light. So it is Friday. We haven't had a Friday show in a long time. It's been a very long week, and I can tell you what I like about you and your recovery and your involvement in my recovery is that, I hold you accountable for things. I don't get held accountable enough sometimes by you or others, I think. And yeah, but I like that there's we have a friendship that sort of sometimes transcends BS. So, or always transcends BS. And I think sometimes just allowing me to be me and you to be you and our recovery pathways, because we're friends first and foremost. And allowing that to be is really helpful to me in my recovery because I have bad days. I had a bad day today. Let me tell you.
Come on with it.
Let me tell you how my day started.
Come on.
I got up right off the bat. That's because right off the bat I got to pee. Because over 40.
First thing smoking.
Yeah, well, I don't smoke anymore. And that's also a problem too because I right, okay. Didn't want to do the thing, right? So I kind of dragged my heels and I got up, but I forced myself. There's something that I do. I talk about it all the time. There's something that I do every day religiously. There's one thing I do every day, without fail, is I make my bed, right? And something I learned early on in recovery. It's not something I always did in the past, and so it's one of those things. And there's a cutesy little Admiral so-and-so who has a little video about why you should make your bed. And I actually, as cutesy and perhaps
Admiral McCraven, he's speaking of the Texas Longhorns. It's really good. In case you guys didn't know, you should watch it.
Yeah, you should absolutely. Thank you for that, Admiral McCraven, talking to the Texas Longhorns, and I learned that I can start my day doing that, so that yes, when I go home, I can see something that I've done great, but I can also start my day with gratitude there. And so as I was making my bed this morning, I'm begrudgingly being grateful because, of course, I'd rather just be in it's cold, it's rainy. I don't feel like getting up. I already know that my feet are going to get wet, blah, 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 And sure enough, even though I got up at 6:30 this morning, I'm walking out the door at 9:05, and have to get here by 9:15. And I walked out the door and I immediately got soaked. Forgot to grab a jacket. Didn't think I needed a jacket actually. Got soaked. My socks were wet before I got in the car, and I went straight here to Hatcher where we have our offices, and then walked out the door again after just looking and saying, all right, everybody's in a meeting. Okay, I don't need to be here at the moment. Well, I'm going to go do some house checks. Right, it's a Friday thing. I walk out the door, I start driving, and I immediately I stop and I see a problem in one of our houses, and I start to back up to see what the problem is, and I back up into somebody.
They're getting a good grade for their house inspection, ain't they?
It's not their fault. It's just, it's the thing that came off the side of the building. But I this poor woman, and I get out of the car, and she's hesitant to get out of the car. And I'm thinking, I'm the most harmless person in the world. I feel terrible, right? Because I know I backed into her. And she's like, are you okay? Are you okay? I say to her, she's fine, a little stunned. There's nothing wrong with either vehicle.
No, sweet.
Her license plate's a little bent up, and I'm like, do you not want my insurance? Like, I've actually got insurance. Let me prove it.
Yeah.
Please, let me
It's like
show
you actually wanted to use your insurance card for one.
Well, and so, like, in that moment, like, I was really grateful that I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm not hiding anything in the car. I'm not, my driving is only impaired by the fact that I was a moron and didn't look before I packed up.
Right.
I'm not drunk. I'm not, doing the other stuff. And really, I got out of the car and I knew that I was okay. We weren't going fast, and just backed up and tapped it really. And swole patrol. and yeah, so really, the cool thing is like I was able to restart my day, right off the bat. And I didn't just magically restarted my day. What I said was, I'm going home and I'm going to chill out. I'm going to have breakfast.
Yeah, you told me that.
Yeah. Well, I haven't told these guys,
Yeah.
the 2 people listening, the 3 people listening right now.
You're doing a great job. You guys are killing it.
And all the hundreds of thousands of people who will listen through the tablets in their jails.
Ugh,
Isn't that crazy?
that's awesome.
It's crazy. It is awesome.
It's cool to say.
Well, all that to say this, I have the ability to restart my day without having to put alcohol and drugs in there. I'll tell you, because I went home. I mean, I went home and I took off the wet clothes. I made breakfast, but I got into bed and I was like, I'm gonna watch TV for an hour and then go back to work. And I thought, I saw a commercial or something. I saw, some alcoholic beverage, and I was like,
And sweat dripping down.
Yeah, and like the whole, I could taste it and feel the transformation inside me of what that would do to me. And I there was a few seconds of, nobody's gonna know.
Right.
There was a few seconds of that. Like, nobody's gonna know. I don't get tested at work. I don't live in our housing. I'm not on probation anymore. Who cares? But I didn't do that. And I'm grateful that I can play through that.
Well, as somebody that has tried to, play that game, the nobody will know game, not too far removed from that, really. I thought I could get away with drinking beer here and there. I tried smoking weed. That was a terrifying experience. Oh my God, I was like stuck on the couch for like 6 hours. Watching stuff about the universe. Me and my girlfriend were supposed to go see like some lights or something with her dad, and I was like, that's not.
No, sir.
That's not happening.
Not happening.
But the coolest part about my day is that like whenever I get like super stressed out or something, and I had a situation here recently, man, where like the whole day was ruined. Like Nathan took me to court, man, and like. I didn't get locked up or anything, but like I didn't get very good news. You know what I mean? So, but I had an opportunity, not that day because that day was a wash. I canceled that day. But the next day I woke up and I decided, like, man, I'm gonna put my best foot forward, man, and show that this thing can work, man. If we work with this one.
It smells like cheese. The microphone smells like cheese. Yeah.
But like I can always restart my day. At any given time, I can restart. I can hit that restart button. My first sponsor, he made me draw a circle, and he made me actually push it to restart my day. A restart button, and I was like, I didn't do it so many times. I didn't do it, and because I was like, why would I do that? Why would I do such a thing? Because like my ego's like, that's petty. But when I finally like just hit the button, man, like it's just about taking action. Something about taking a little bit of action into putting my best foot forward and trying to restart my day has changed a lot of things about my life, man. And like my routine is pretty brutal, man. Like every day, I wake up at the crack of dawn and I go to the gym with a bunch of people in recovery.
I would say that you wake up like around dusk, actually. I don't know that you. Yeah, it's like
What's the crack of dawn? Crack of dawn means like sunrise.
No, yeah. I'm thinking dusk, like as the sun's going down, you're like, all right, I'm time to wake up and let's go.
Right.
Or 100 miles an hour,
1,000 miles.
1,000 miles
All the time.
Lane, you got your work cut out for you, buddy.
Yeah, he knows it. But so like. Then I go to work, man, and I lift stuff all day, move stuff, and build stuff, and I hang out with nothing but people in recovery, literally all day, every single day. And when I'm not working, I come here and hang out with the guys, man, and it's been so beneficial to have these people in my life, man, like you guys, like everybody that I immerse myself in this culture, and it's not the first time that I've ever done it. You know what I mean? It's not the first time that I've ever been like gung-ho or 100% into something without even fully committing in my head, like exteriorly I'm 100% committed. Like I could show you that I'm 100% committed, but in my head, like there's always those reservations, you know what I mean? There's those reservations of like, all right, well, when I get done with this or when I get done with that, then I could go live my own life and do my own thing. Like I didn't think that this was going to be a part of my life forever. And when I started succumbing to the fact that this is more than likely going to have to be a part of my life forever, which, God, sometimes it still sucks. I'm not going to beat around the bush, but like when I started succumbing to that fact and like started realizing that like early on in my recovery, like I have to surround myself with the right people to build that foundation, like I have to build a strong foundation for myself. It's just like building a house, man. And I'm deciding to do that today, man. I try as hard as I can to be part of that foundation for other people, and I love it, man. I love where I'm at.
What's another word for succumb?
Give up.
Yeah, what's another word for give up?
Come on, just give it to me. Surrender.
Yeah, I like that, right? We talk about that in
Thank you for the charade.
charades.
I needed it.
Right. Well, and so like my thinking when I talked to Justin yesterday about doing a show today, we haven't done a Friday spot in a long time, so I like the Friday spot. Because it's the end of the week, I can reflect, we can, have people in. You've never found that before.
No.
Joey and I are friends, we're having fun back here, but I thought, something that's really, that I struggle with in my personal recovery is, keeping, I work a 12-step program, and in 12-step program requires spiritual principles to be put into effect. It's sort of a kind of a thing about the 12 steps. And I also work another program, Recovery Dharma, which does meditation and also, believe it or not, spiritual principles all around. It's like, imagine that. And the three of those, indispensable ones, honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness, or in the other 12-step fellowship, it's willingness, honesty, and open-mindedness in that order, but it's still the three indispensable. It's in the appendix 2.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But, I get stuck on that surrender thing. For me, surrendering, all right, I can say, all right, the drugs and the alcohol are a problem, but it's like all that other behavior that comes out.
I love it.
What?
I love it.
You love it, huh?
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes I love my character defect.
Yeah.
I was taught that a long time ago, man. Like sometimes I'm so infatuated with my own character defects, and that's my ego shining through. Like sometimes I'm so infatuated with my own character defects that I refuse to do anything about them. And it's only until I start working the steps and like breaking it down to like what's the actual causes and conditions for the way that I act, man. Once I start breaking all that stuff down and like figuring out some shit about myself that I never wanted to take a look at, that's when all those come to light, all those character defects that I'm not willing to get rid of, you know what I mean? Because sometimes I'm not, man. I'm just, you know what I mean? I'm a human, first and foremost. I'm a person in recovery, second most. And then I'm a person that just wants to get better at life, right? And it's like, sometimes like I have to distinguish between, because, so like for me, I'm a dually diagnosed person in recovery, right? And I'm not trying to break it into like a mental health, whatever talk or whatever. But, so like I have to be able to distinguish between like my spiritual guidance from you guys and all that stuff versus like my mental health side. Like I have to be able to distinguish between the two while realizing that they're both important enough to work on at the same time, and like, God, that's difficult, dude. It's difficult to find time for me to do like all of the things that I want to accomplish. And then that's when that restart button hits in and I have to pump the brakes a little bit and realize like, Joe, you're doing too much, because I'm notorious for doing too much. But like, that's when I got to like learn how to pump the brakes and ask questions and like talk to you guys about stuff that like I'm uncomfortable talking about. And that's the only way I become willing to let go of those character defects that I said I'd never get rid of.
Yeah.
I think as addicts, we all are.
Mm-hmm.
We all try to do too much of everything. Everything that we do, we try to go way over the top.
The heart.
Way over the top.
Way over the top, as far as we can get it.
Give me an inch, I'll take a mile every time.
Exactly.
One is too many, right? 1,000 is never enough.
Oh.
So you have some, we're going to hear noises out there all the time. It's just it's a part of the process of where we are. And
It's the herd.
well, if anyone wants to, it's the herd.
You like it?
I love that. I never thought of that. That's awesome. I also never go back and listen to the show, so I have no idea how much that stuff plays. But for those of you who are listening and are probably thinking, what the heck are they doing?
You can hear it. You can hear it.
Oh, you can hear it?
Definitely
hear it.
cattle running the hallway. 100%.
But I, as much as it sometimes can annoy me, it brings me back to a place of there's life in the building, There's the ghost voice. Is that God, Odin? Oh God, Lane.
Yes.
Lane, we need to get you here.
Yeah, we need you here.
We need you here, but at 2:00.
That's Diesel Daddy right there.
Diesel Daddy.
Swole Patrol.
Swole Patrol. I like
Shout out Swole Team 6.
Oh my gosh.
Gang.
I had no idea what the heck I was talking about here. We're talking about putting too much on our plates. I feel this that's where I've been the last couple of weeks. I keep putting more and more on my plate without actually working on the things, that are on my plate. I'm talking in my professional life, but also in my recovery. And in my recovery, I don't have any control over what things are going to come up. Like I look at my recovery as like a game of whack-a-mole, and I'm constantly hitting, the emotions, and I just get faster and more. I just get better at whacking those moles.
Until it's just one hit, it kills them all.
Or maybe I should just stop. I don't know. And maybe there's a part of that. Maybe I don't just get faster. Maybe I just stop. But emotions come up, right? And for me, like things will happen in my personal life that like I thought I've dealt with this stuff, years ago or whatever, and suddenly I'm confronted with the consequences of my inaction, and that. Oh. And then I've got everything piled on my plate. I've got literally like, hey, Maurice. I've got, literally, I've got so many jokes. There's so many things on my plate. I love that this is just like chill. Justin, jump in here, man. I don't want to get too freaking serious here. Recovery's fun.
Recovery's so
It is fun. It's really fun. It's definitely the most fun I've had in a long time, very long time. For the longest time, it's been a war. It's been a war, and it's a war that I know I'm never going to be able to win, ever.
Oh, God.
And it's only when, we go back to that surrender piece, we surrender and realize you can't win this war, that's when things start getting better immediately.
Yeah. Maurice, that's exactly what I was
The
thinking.
black chill.
So I
saw it.
it's a war that can never be won. That's exactly right. And to give you all some context here, I came to McShin on April 30th, 2018. It was the evening. I got here just after 5. I came straight to Hatcher, met Bob, who was the men's program director at the time, and whatever goons were in here at the time, and I was sent over to Chamberlain House. And I don't know if you were there, but I don't think you were there.
I was there. I was there when you showed up. Yeah.
So Justin, who is our producer right now and is our producer going forward, will be a producer going forward with this show. He was my house leader when I first got here. He was one of the first introductions to McShin outside of the jail program right then. The first introductions to McShin here, and introducing me to the McShin way, and I'm really grateful that I had Justin as a house leader at the time, because I got here, I didn't know anybody. I'd come right out of jail. I didn't know anybody here, and he really made me feel welcome, and I kind of leaned on him for all kinds of stupid stuff. But he really, he tried to help out where he could, and I always felt like he was pretty even keeled about things, and didn't try to do too much.
I'll piggyback on that, man. The feeling is mutual, man. I was really grateful to have you come in. You were one of the very few people that actually came in the room and talked to me. You sat down, you said, "Hey man, can I talk to you?" We had several conversations that lasted hours.
Yeah.
And you completely opened it. Nobody else in the house did that with me. And I was very open. When I became the house leader over there, I made sure that everybody knew, my door is wide open. I don't have this recovery thing down pat, but I want to help out and give as much advice as I can. And nobody really took advantage of that, and you being completely fresh, short hair and all. Yeah, you had short hair then.
I remember short hair.
You were immediately just like, you completely opened up, and
He thought
I
was high as
remember,
gas.
I did, honestly.
Probably not his dad.
But I didn't care. I was just
Yeah.
like, this dude's he's here, he's trying, and we immediately connected. And it just blossomed into an amazing friendship, and I'm really, really grateful that you're still here. And when I came back, you were the first person to come down to Joyce's office and say, "What's up, dude?"
I saw the email and I was like, "What? Are you kidding me? I was just talking about you yesterday." I'm booking down the stairs as fast as my little fat ass can go. Justin Ray, oh my God, this is your whole swole
The
team
whole
here.
school team's on.
Up here, this is awesome. Thank you, Justin.
We're gonna try to
Absolutely.
get everybody from the swole team in here.
We'll keep Fridays. Fridays can be swole days.
But yes,
Yeah.
yes, I love it. I don't know, like the big, so a lot of people might know this about me already, that I don't know anybody that watching this, but like, when I was in recovery the last time, man, and this is just my story, if it offends anybody,
Talk to your sponsor.
yeah, I talked to your sponsor. Mine's watching. But so like I was on 20 milligrams of Suboxone a day, right? I was on a cycle of steroids that was otherworldly, dude. And I was at 1,000 miles an hour all day, every day. And I think Nathan can attest to that, dude. And I got huge, I got arrogant, and I got mean, right? And I thought I was the shit. And I thought you couldn't tell me anything about recovery, right? Like because I've been in this stuff for so long and I've been in these environments for so long, right? That like, I think that I'm like some sort of spiritual advisor at that point, even though like the way that I'm living doesn't match up with that. And so like, yeah, I'll tell you, the hardest thing for me to do is admit when I'm wrong, or admit that I don't know something, right? Because like that ego's still there, like I'm really bad at thinking I know absolutely everything, and then like that part of my life, like I don't know if you mind me sharing this or not about the other day, but like Nathan and I, like I stormed out of Nathan's office the other day because like I made him feel a certain type of way, he made me feel a certain type of way, but then the very next day we go to court together, we sit and we eat breakfast, we talk about it, and bang, that's it. You know what I mean?
To be fair, you stormed out of my office because I screamed at you.
That's
Yeah.
100%.
I mean, I was-
bring that up.
no,
I was gonna take
please.
the blame for it.
No. I was totally inappropriate out of
I was just like, all right.
over the
bud.
top.
Yeah, right, but
I'm angry
But-
at myself too.
But the most important thing is that like that's part of the growth, right? In the relationships, and like that's important to me today. Is like the relationships that I'm formulating with people and even with myself.
Yeah.
Because like old Joey, I'm on 1,000 miles an hour. I'm like, please don't scream at me because it's not pretty. But like today, like I'm trying to apply some of the spiritual principles that I've learned, in the honesty, the hope, the faith, the courage, the wisdom, integrity, all of those things. I'm trying to apply them into my life, and first of all, don't get it wrong. I'm not great at applying all of them. I'm not even great at applying 30% of them in 100% of my life, but like I'm trying, right? Like, and that's the point. We claim spiritual progress rather than spiritual perfection. And that's the point, is to try, and I'm responsible for the effort.
Yeah.
Not the outcome. I don't, like all I can do is just show up every day.
Yeah.
Sometimes the best thing I know how to do is just show up, and my day seems to get better every time that I do. And that's what I do.
So you mentioned a routine that includes like 7 hours of early morning gym time, and does Justin, have you been jumping in on this swole
Definitely not in
patrol,
the
or?
morning.
Hey, well,
He's
I don't work out with other people very well. I kind of throw my
I'm a loner,
headphones on and do my own thing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The 3 or 4 times I went with Joey, I was like, yeah, we're not going together. I'm just driving by and picking you up because you're on the side.
Also, I've heard stories and I'm a little scared.
I'm terrified.
guys are
I've seen pictures, I've heard stories.
I actually had to drop out of the group at one point because I was like, it was speaking, well, it was literally speaking to old trauma in the past, and I'm like, this is not cool.
Right.
And then I'm like,
straight toxic masculinity that we promote.
and now I've rejoined it just so I can laugh at all y'all.
Yeah, because we're goofy.
Because you are goofy. So you're more of a daytime gym goer by yourself?
Yeah. I like to wake up. I like to, eat my breakfast, do what I got to do, hit the gym, work out for, 45 minutes to an hour. But I go pretty hard. I don't take a lot of breaks. I just go from one thing to the next.
Yeah.
And when I'm done, I'm done. That's it. I leave, and that's kind of a everyday thing for me. I have to go in the morning. I prefer going in the morning just because that immediate, that rush of endorphins that I get, that it just makes me feel good for the entire rest of the day,
That's what propels forward.
and I found that if I go at night, I tend not to sleep as well, just because I'm still, I'm still up and ready to go and everything.
Daddy Shinholzer wants us to talk about the inmate, to give a hope shot to the inmates. Well, I can tell you one thing. I just went to court the other day, and they offered me a plea that I didn't like, so I turned it down. But I can tell you, if the numbers don't change by the next time I have to go to court, I'm going to have to eat some time. The only thing that I can tell you, and I had this similar situation back in how long ago was that? It was like,
Well, the Expressway?
yeah, I think it was December.
Yeah.
December, yeah. And man, I just decided that no matter what happens, right, no matter what the outcome of court is, no matter what any of this stuff is, I'm going to try as hard as I can to go in there and be an example of what recovery can look like out here. And because like a lot of people that are incarcerated don't even know that recovery is a thing, don't even know that it exists, don't know that there's another way to live, man, and that there's people that have their back, and like we still have fun. I mean, we still turn up, we still, you know what I mean? Like our whole group of friends is just as absolutely ridiculous as could be, and man, it's so much fun. But a lot of people don't know that, doesn't know that it's even an option. And it's sad. And so like I was in Henrico, and they moved me to where the program is, and I went in there, man, and like it's insane that like they're doing a great job in there for what the times are, for what COVID and all that stuff, and people not being allowed in and stuff like that. They're doing a great job with the structure, but like the new people that came in had no idea what recovery is like. You know what I mean? They don't know what the traditions are. They don't know why the traditions are in place. They don't know, you know what I mean? Like the spiritual principles behind the steps and stuff like that. And that's the crux of the program, is working the steps. It's working the steps and trying to get better and learning how to apply spiritual principles. So like that is imperative to me, man. And a big part of what I'm doing now is just, God, trying to be a maximum service to the people around me, man. And if part of that has to be while I'm incarcerated, it has to be while I'm incarcerated. But one thing that I do know is that nothing happens in God's world by mistake, aka Dale's world. Come on.
Where's the lightning?
One of the things for me, and probably for a lot of other people too, about recovery is when you first get here, it can be a little intimidating. You see a lot of people that are, just friends and groups of people that are talking it up and, out at the smoke shack or whatever. And you kind of get a little like, are these people going to accept me, for just as I am? And a lot of,
I don't accept me yet.
right.
God.
A lot
That's
of
the
people
hardest
coming
part.
in, me included. I had like one pair of pants that had like a bunch of holes in it. I had a pair of shoes that were too small. I looked awful and I felt awful.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be around other people. But I had to be, and as soon as I said my name, it was just, people just opened up and said, welcome, come on in. You're part of a community now. There's one thing you have to do. You have to stay clean. And, that as soon as people started opening up to me, I felt this massive sense of relief that no matter what I look like, no matter how I am, these are like-minded individuals. These people have been through a lot of the same things that I've been through. And we have something in common already that we didn't realize that we had in common before. And that was huge for me. That was very big for me.
Yeah, well said. I'm realizing, Justin, as you're talking, we don't have you in the corner of the shot
Oh, we
there.
don't?
Well, for Monday or for Tuesday. No. We're not going to do anything on the fly.
We've only got one camera.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
We're not using the program that we normally use, so we're only able to have one camera angle for right now.
Oh, so I don't get. I don't get my close-up?
You guys are the stars right now.
Well, but it's in my contract that I get a close-up.
We're gonna have to amend that contract.
How much they paying you for that?
Not the same as every.
Wait, you guys are getting paid?
Yeah, right? No. Oh.
We get paid by Hardee's and Lee's.
I did not eat fried chicken today, guys.
Did you actually bring that beverage with you?
Yeah, I did.
I thought that was here when you got here. I thought you were just drinking.
I was just drinking some random Lee's chicken.
Savage stuff here. You know? I love, but both of you talked about, what you both talked about really resonates with so much about what I hear other people talk about and my own story. Because maintaining my sobriety, maintaining my, clean time, whatever word language you want to put in there. And I use different language with different folks, and that's okay. I mean, I know what recovery, different strokes, different, exactly. I know that, geez, John's watching too. We're never going to get this we're never going to do Friday again. As long as I maintain my sobriety one day at a time, as long as I have that desire, to maintain, that's the beautiful thing. We get to come in, we get to join a community of individuals who, it's a family. Some of us, our family of origin may not be healthy, or maybe it is, we don't know, but we can come in here, we can find acceptance. We can find, individuals who love us when we can't love ourselves. We can find, healthy supports. We can stop the enabling. That's a big thing. As my earphones are flying off, sorry. So that's really, the hope shot for me. I think you and I both, and I don't know, Justin, were you in a McShin jail program?
I wasn't.
Well, you weren't. Okay. Well, I came through a McShin jail program, and we've, you've been through other programs and stuff. Yeah. I don't know other programs because I've never been in another program, but I do know that from the minute that I was introduced to McShin, I would hear them I was hearing them in the different meetings and things that I would, go to get out of our little block in jail where I was, and this McShin block, and I'm like, what part of Ireland or Scotland is McShin? That was my first question. This is McShin people, right?
Irish surgery.
Right? and but the thing, the one characteristic by everybody who mentioned that word, everybody seemed like they were happy or working towards something else. We were in jail, but they didn't seem as, angry about being in jail as the others did. I mean, trust me, I don't want to go back to jail. And I just sort of looked at that and I went, I think I might want that. I certainly didn't like what I was doing, and that, just really was talking about committing credit card fraud and all the things that you do and plan while you're in jail with other people. I wasn't certainly thinking about getting better because I didn't know that there was anything else. And so when I heard about that, here's a bunch of other people like-minded who seem to be working a program that teaches us that, hey, we might have screwed up a little bit, but hey, we can get out of this. I said, well, let me go try that out. And I'm grateful I had that opportunity, really, really grateful. Because I walked into there, and I tell this part of my story all the darn time too, but, it was cold. It was cold, and I didn't have socks. And the guy looked at me, looked totally different from me, younger, black, everything different, Republican, and all the things that were different than me. And, he just looked at me and said, man, your feet look cold. And I was very distrustful about his motives. I'm like, why are you caring about my darn feet, And
You sounded just like it.
No, I was a lot more timid back then. And I just sort of, I was scared. I mean, be real. I'm like, this guy, why are you finding my faults and pointing them out at me? Why are you looking at my weaknesses? It's essentially what was happening right there. And he's like, no, man, I got you. And he went and got me some socks, plain and simple. And like, he never brought it up. It was never you got me socks. You got to, now you got to wash my back.
He didn't bring you he didn't want 2 pairs back on laundry day.
No. And
store-bought socks.
Yeah. Well, we didn't, they didn't give us socks in Fauquier County. You had to buy them.
Yeah.
So that was an introduction into, somebody doing for me what I couldn't, God doing for me what I couldn't do for myself. And, he put that person in place there to give me that little bit of hope and that really blossomed. And, for me in recovery, everywhere I've gone into recovery spaces, all around the country. I mean, I traveled. So, I've gone to recovery spaces around the country, and I've felt that welcoming sense of community everywhere I've gone, and in different ways. And I've learned, I want to continue to go forward and go into other community spaces around the country and wherever, because it's so amazing to see how people do the same thing or, do the same thing and get the same results, but also do different things and get better results. That was a very simplistic way of saying finding ways we can improve on what we do here at Shed. But it's amazing to see that. It's amazing to see that that's what recovery to me is that connections and this community building. And, it's like I don't have to dwell on all the negative stuff that I did in the past. I don't have to worry and catastrophize my future. I can just live in the present. I can have a car accident, get out of the car and not be angry and be grateful that I have insurance and that we're both okay. I can turn around and say, you know what? Maybe I just need to go home and sleep for another hour and have breakfast, and maybe that'll, restart my day for me. That's what this gives me, man. A life worth living.
Yeah.
So, and that's the hope shot. You can stay miserable, and that's fine. Like that anger, I talked to you, especially Joey, about my rage and how it's been really manifesting in some ugly ways in the last few weeks. And it's a very, very, very familiar, comfortable place.
Ooh.
Well, it's uncomfortable, but it's a very familiar, comfortable. What the word I'm trying to say.
I got you.
I love
Comfortable.
kerfuffle. And that's the cool thing is like I can sit here and laugh about it. I can laugh about the rageful, angry, sometimes hateful thoughts I've had in the last few weeks, and recognize that I've had some thoughts. I didn't act on those thoughts, and I can move on from those. And when I linger is when the sarcasm, snippiness, or sometimes reacting, really, really negatively, comes out. But it'll be like that. I got people around me, so.
And that's another thing too, is that this time coming around, man, I see a bunch of people that I didn't even think I liked before. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even think that I didn't, because there's my ego again, and my character defects coming to life where I didn't even think I liked some of these people, man, and now I find myself hanging out with them every day, or like some of the people that I hang out with now, we would have never gotten along before because we're all too alpha, you know what I mean? Super alpha, kind of high strung, high energy type dudes, man. And it's crazy. And I was talking about it last night. Justin was there, and it feels like now all of my friends, including the ones that I'm bringing back into my life, and or what are you out? I got you. At least you. But the people that I'm bringing into my life now, it just feels like all of my friends are just we're all kind of smashing together to make this powerhouse of a unit, and it's awesome, man. It is awesome to see, man, because we truly are more alike than different, and when we focus on the similarities at hand, it makes the differences much more trivial. It makes them much smaller, and it makes them much more surmountable. It's much more easy to overcome the small things when you realize that the big picture is that we're all here to try to benefit from one another. And it's blown my mind because, like I said, I surround myself with a bunch of dudes that are gung-ho about everything, so it's it's been awesome, man, this time around. And I just started realizing that dude, I'm capable of loving other people, but most importantly, I'm capable of being loved, because I didn't think that was a possibility before, I didn't think that if I wasn't buying somebody something, or giving somebody a ride, or doing something for somebody, helping somebody move, because Nathan knows, dude, I've helped half of the recovery community in Richmond move. I mean, gosh. But I used to think that's how I showed love, and that's where I got the rewards from. Well, that's because I was smoking crack, Nathan.
I moved in November.
Oh. My bad.
When
Maybe one.
I remember when Lane and I first met, he got a job where I was working, and I could not stand him. I absolutely hated him.
Checks out.
And he did not let up. He just kept, "What's up, dude? How's it going, dude? Hey, man, what are you doing tonight, dude?" And I was just like, "Please
Doing what?
go away. Please. I don't know you. I don't like you. That's it." And now it's crazy because we're both in this recovery community. You know, if you know him, you know what kind of a huge change he's gone through for the better. And he's literally become one of the biggest motivators for me personally. You know, I look at him and you know, several years clean. You know, he has become, you know, what I saw myself becoming several years ago, but never quite was able to get there.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. And you know, he never gave up on, I guess you could say, our friendship. Even though I pushed him away at first, completely pushed him away. You know, it's, you know, piggybacking off of that, you know, what Joey was just talking about, you know, yeah, it's all one big family. You know, you meet people that you think, you know, you may not like, and then all of a sudden you realize you're best friends. You know,
It's like,
you're now part of this family that you never imagined that you would have.
Mhm.
And it's crazy how fast it happens.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know.
we don't all have to have the same taste in music.
Right.
You know, we can
Most of us love death metal. So.
we can sometimes we can, what's the word I'm looking for? Not cooperate. Cooperate, not to cooperate. We can
Coagulate.
coagulate.
Corroborate.
Not corroborate. Not corrupt. Well, we can corrupt. Let's go to Gwen's question. So Gwen, one of our regular listeners, and I'm sorry, Gwen. We
went off on a tangent there.
Squirrel.
Squirrel.
One big challenge is maintaining sobriety during tough times. How do you use what you have learned in your recovery program in difficult circumstances? Ooh.
Difficult circumstances. What are that?
Nothing. Silence. Silence.
I don't know how. Still, I mean, but well, I utilize the people in the network. That's number one. I utilize the people in the network. If I'm going through something, I'll even come up into Nathan's office and sit and drink coffee for 3 hours if I have to. You know, but I'm trying to work. And I'm just like, yeah, well, I got this going. But I utilize a lot of the guys in my program, and I help other people. You know, and the big book says it. The big book says nothing will so much ensure immunity from the next drink as intensive work with another alcoholic. And NA, it's the therapeutic value of one addict helping another is without parallel. You know, I can't do this shit alone anymore, ever again. And it's mind blowing that it seems so simple to me now, right? But like back then, I just like I wouldn't focus on it. I wouldn't focus on the we thing. I focused on the me thing. And I thought that because I had all these external stuffs that I made it somewhere.
Yeah.
And now that and reading the book is always a big go-to for me. Like reading any recovery-related literature, whether it be a recovery Dharma book or the basic text or the big book. For me, mainly it's the big book, or well, now recently it's become the basic text. But it's easier for me to reach out to a like-minded individual to just be like, hey, dude, I'm going through this. It's so much easier because I became willing to be vulnerable. That's hard for me, man. It's like just willing to be vulnerable. like, I gotta be able to cry in front of Nathan or Justin or somebody, man, and like get it up off my chest. Briggs,
What's up,
love you,
buddy?
Bubba.
Hey, Bubba.
Is he watching?
He says he loves us, so I guess
I mean,
he
I
is.
reckon, yeah.
Lane wouldn't lie to you, would he?
No, definitely not.
Of course not.
Yeah,
Of course
Lane
not.
is ruthlessly honest sometimes. I mean, like, to a detriment, borderline, but whatever. We'll talk about it later. But yeah, like, it's been so life changing for me I mean, I haven't changed a whole lot though, Nathan. You know, the only thing that changed is the way that I think. Right? I mean, I know it says you have to change everything, right? But like I keep the same routine that I kept, which I've changed a little bit, right? Like I've managed to wake up and read the book and like do stuff like that and actually take time for my recovery, right? But like essentially, the only thing that I'm doing different is admitting that I can't do this alone. And like that's been the biggest thing to change for me, is admitting that like I'm not alone in this and I don't have to be alone if I don't want to be. And it's been huge.
I'm still trying to realize that myself.
Yeah.
I still try to do everything alone.
I'm a loner, dude.
Yeah, I think I can do everything by myself the best way possible, and it's just not true. But I still don't want to admit it.
I struggle with that. Absolutely. Yeah. And I think, you know, the challenge of staying sober during tough times is recognizing that it can all be tough times or it can all be opportunities. And for me, I'm not always the silver lining guy. I think I tend to be more optimistic in general. I think I've always kind of, but I know that when I am really, really negative, that's become, I know that's a red flag for me. And I'm really grateful when I have people who can remind me of that, but in a gentle way, because I don't take to sarcasm as, you know, I'm a very, you know, we alcoholics are sensitive people. Very sensitive people. And, you know, I do not like suggestions. Ooh, taking action, forget it.
Can't tell me nothing.
You can nothing.
I know this.
I hate listening to other people sometimes still though.
Were you saying something?
Were you?
No, that was the joke.
Yeah, what you did there.
Wow.
That was nice. I guess. No, but like sometimes I gotta snap out of it still though, because the ego shows back up. Like I don't like hearing anything about other people. Anything from other people. I mean, you know, like I don't like taking advice or like.
Well,
I'm terrible at it. And,
the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous suggests that I don't give advice.
right.
Well, but I'll give suggestions and I'll sit here and I'll pout if you don't take it.
Yeah, I'll get mad at you for not taking my advice, even though I don't give advice.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing to recognize that recovery is not.
Oh, it's not linear.
It's not linear, just straight up, you know.
This thing is definitely not linear. There's going to be ups and downs, and I'm still up and down all over the place. I mean, that's yeah.
And I keep going back to what Gwen was asking because, you know, I found somebody to share my recovery with my, you know, in my pathway as a sponsor, and I found a sponsor who. I love him, you know, and I've hung out with him and done social things, but like ultimately, you know, he's the guy who has the thing that I want, or at least he knows how to get the thing that I want. And that really for me is, I've discovered his peace of mind. You know, he's gone through some really big things in his life and, you know, I can talk to him and he's not always going to relate to everything that's going on in my life, which is amazing because there doesn't have to be one person. In fact, there can't be one person in my life. Because he's not always going to be there. So I've got other people around me. And I've got other people who I can talk to that can probably relate a little more specifically about, you know, like things that he might not be able to. And that's awesome. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about building a community is recognizing, you know, we all have something to contribute to the community and we can all work, you know, together to get this recovery thing going. And I don't have to do it every night. That's the thing, you know, and I'll go back to what John was asking about, you know, the hope shot for jail. You know, it's the same story. I hear every new participant who walks in the door, it's, I need to get a job right now. It's the thing that's going to help with my recovery. I need to get the car and the license and this. And it's like, slow down, buddy, slow down. We need to teach you how to stop using right now.
Yeah.
We just need to stop using one day at a time.
And that would be free and not get high.
Yeah. And it's like, man, you relax. We are going to help you.
What's Big Book say?
Oh, gosh, what does it say?
We relax, we take it easy, we don't struggle. We often find that the right answers come after we've tried this for a while. That's the, that's the most simple. It says do nothing.
It does, but how often do you take that suggestion? Never. I mean,
Very
well,
rarely.
sometimes, yeah.
I mean, sometimes I do, man, and sometimes my do nothing is to just go to the gym or hang out with you guys and call y'all, and like sometimes that's my do nothing. Sometimes my inaction can lead to a negative action.
Yeah.
And like because like if you're type A like me, I know that I gotta go full throttle and everything. I'm like bing, 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 bing. So like sitting still, not my strong suit. So now that I'm armed with the facts about myself that it's not my strong suit, how do I utilize all that energy? Like I gotta point in the right direction. Stuff.
On that note,
And on that note,
it has been a beautiful Friday. It turned out to be a lovely day. It wasn't so lovely. I'm still a little bitter about the accident earlier. No,
the car's just fine.
no, I'm not even worried about the car. It's just I'm mad at myself for not paying attention to everything around me. Yeah. And
Will not regret the past, nor wish to shut the door.
listen, I want to say thank you, Joey, for coming back on the show, being with us today, and Justin as a producer. I like this Friday spot, kind of maybe a chill alumni type of thing. Hanging out, what's going on. Whole team gone.
Swole 6.
It's just gonna make me feel inadequate.
No, it's gonna make you feel. Never mind.
That's for my psychiatrist. That's why I have that in my life. So, thank you all for paying attention. I hope you come and join us again next Tuesday at 2:00. We've got Todd. Not Todd. We've got Justin over there in the producer seat. Oh my goodness.
Thank you.
And we got Justin over here. Justin, 3 years I've known you, and I just realized your name is Bognar and not Bogner.
It's cool, man. I'm getting called boogers now, which is awesome.
We call them boogers.
I'm not going to respond to that on air.
Boogers, boogs, Bhagwan. I've heard that one too.
Bhagwan?
Bhag, that's what my brother calls me.
Young Bhagwan.
He's got the same last name as you.
Wait, doesn't he? Not all brothers have the same last name.
I mean, I don't know. I was just assuming.
You know what happens when we assume, right? Anyway, thank you all for paying attention, tuning in today. This was fun, man. Joey, great to have you. Good to see you, Justin. We love you all out there, and have a good weekend.
Praise hell, praise down.
My name is Shannon Lance. I'm currently here in recovery at McShin Foundation. I got out of jail on January 10th, 2021, and while I was incarcerated there, my mother passed away due to COVID complications on December 14th. It was a really challenging event in my life. While I was incarcerated there, I watched the recovery videos and the podcast on the tablets there, that was made by the McShin Foundation. Getting to Heard podcast really made me feel like I was a part of something on the outside, because, there's people that are commenting and just seeing, people that I was incarcerated with on the videos, and just thinking, man, that's going to be me, before too long. And, I'm going to be sitting there in them rooms and, be able to be a part of the podcast and get in the Heard series. And, now I'm a part of the Heard here at McShin, and it's an amazing feeling, and it's nice having a fulfilled sense of hope in my life currently, and just to live one day at a time, and just to have positive feelings in my life and good relationships with my family and friends is an amazing event.